"I'm sorry, sir, but we're fully booked. There are no rooms available tonight," the hotel clerk said, his eyes flicking over Colonel John Jack Ramsey's simple travel attire with cool disinterest, not even glancing at the reservation confirmation. Jack held Jack 82, a Medal of Honor recipient, leaned wearily on his cane. "But I have a confirmed reservation, made months ago for the Medal of Honor Society convention, starting tomorrow." The clerk just shrugged. "System shows no availability. Can't help you." 6 minutes later, as Jack sat defeated in the opulent lobby, the main elevator doors slid open and the hotel chain CEO, looking thunderous, strode directly toward the front desk. "If you believe heroes deserve honor, not hotel hassles, type respect below." Colonel John Jack Ramsey, U.S. Marine Corps, retired, carried the weight of history, not as a burden, but as a quiet testament to a life of extraordinary service. The Medal of Honor, awarded for actions of unimaginable bravery during the Tet Offensive, lay nestled in a velvet box in his modest apartment, a symbol he revered but rarely displayed. At 82, his gait was slowed by age and old shrapnel wounds, his hand often resting on a polished oak cane. But his eyes still held the keen, unwavering gaze of a man who had faced down death and emerged forever changed, yet unbroken. He lived a simple, structured life, his days filled with reading, corresponding with old comrades, and volunteering at the local VA. Today, he was traveling to the annual Medal of Honor Society convention, a deeply meaningful gathering of the nation's highest decorated living heroes. His granddaughter, an Air Force major, had meticulously booked him a suite at the Grand Mark Hotel, the prestigious venue hosting the convention, ensuring his reservation was confirmed and reconfirmed, wanting her beloved grandfather to have every comfort. He arrived by taxi, tired from the journey, but looking forward to a quiet evening before the convention began. He wore a neatly pressed dark blazer, gray slacks, a collared shirt, and a tie, respectable, understated, the attire of a gentleman. He carried a small, well-worn leather satchel containing his convention materials and a change of clothes. The Grand Mark's lobby was a symphony of polished marble, crystal chandeliers, and hushed, expensive chatter. Jack approached the gleaming reception desk, his confirmed reservation printout and VA ID card in hand. The front desk clerk on duty was a young man named Julian, impeccably dressed in the hotel's tailored uniform, his hair perfectly coiffed, his smile practiced but impersonal. He exuded an air of smooth, slightly bored efficiency, processing the check-ins of wealthy business travelers and society figures with practiced ease. When Jack Ramsey reached the counter, Julian's smile flickered almost imperceptibly, his eyes doing a swift, practiced scan of Jack's slightly old-fashioned blazer, his cane, his age. Jack didn't fit the usual high-roller profile of the Grand Mark's clientele. Checking in, Julian asked, his tone a shade less affable than it had been for the diamond-earring woman ahead of Jack. "Yes," Jack replied, placing his reservation confirmation and VA ID on the marble counter. "John Ramsey, reservation for a suite." "Confirmed." Julian tapped at his keyboard, his brow furrowing slightly. He typed some more, then frowned. "Ramsey, you said? I'm not seeing an active reservation under that name for tonight, sir." Jack was taken aback. "That can't be right. It was booked months ago by my granddaughter, Major Emily Hayes. It's for the Medal of Honor Society convention being held here. Perhaps check under that group booking." Julian tapped again, then shook his head, a hint of impatience now creeping into his voice. "No, sir. The main block for that convention is showing as full, and I still don't see an individual reservation. For John Ramsey, are you sure you have the correct hotel or the correct dates?" "I am quite sure," Jack stated, his voice quiet but firm, the first stirrings of unease beginning to prickle. He pushed the confirmation printout, with its clear Grand Mark letterhead and reservation number, closer to Julian. "As you can see," Julian barely glanced at it. "Sir, what the paper says and what my system says are two different things, and my system is always correct. It shows no room available under your name or associated with that convention block for tonight. We are fully committed due to several large corporate events. He adopted a tone of feigned sympathy. I do apologize for any inconvenience. Perhaps your granddaughter made an error with the booking. The casual dismissal, the implication that his granddaughter, an active duty major known for her meticulous attention to detail, was incompetent, stung Jack more than the denial of the room itself. "There is no error," Jack said, his voice hardening slightly. "That reservation was confirmed multiple times. I am a Medal of Honor recipient here for that specific convention. This hotel is the designated venue. There must be a room." Julian's professional smile became a thin, patronizing line. "Sir, many people claim to have reservations or special status when a hotel is full. It's a common occurrence." He lowered his voice slightly, as if imparting a worldly confidence. "And while your service is commendable, it doesn't magically create a room when the hotel is at 100% capacity, according to our real-time system." He gestured vaguely. "There are other hotels in the area you could try, though I imagine they're also quite busy tonight." This wasn't just incompetence. It was profound disrespect to have his confirmed reservation for an event honoring him and his brothers-in-arms dismissed so casually. To have his identity and the very reason for his presence questioned was an insult of the highest order. He saw the hotel manager, Ms. Carmichael, briefly look over from her office, catch Julian's eye, and then pointedly turn away, clearly delegating the handling of this problematic elderly guest to her clerk. Jack felt a weariness that went bone deep. He was too old, too tired for this kind of battle. He'd fought enough real ones. He took a deep breath. "Young man," he said, his voice now carrying a quiet weight of authority that made Julian pause despite himself, "this isn't just about a hotel room. This is about a commitment made, an honor promised. Your system may be flawed. Your understanding of who I am and why I am here is clearly non-existent, but my reservation is valid." Julian, however, hardened his stance, sensing a challenge to his authority. "Sir, I've told you, there are no rooms. Arguing with me won't change that. Either you accept that, or I'll have to ask security to escort you from the lobby." As you are now holding up other paying guests, he indicated the growing line behind Jack. The threat, however veiled, was clear. Defeated by the unyielding wall of bureaucratic indifference and the clerk's thinly veiled contempt, Jack Ramsey simply nodded. "I see," he said, his voice flat. He picked up his confirmation slip and his VA ID, the paper feeling like a useless talisman now, and turned away from the counter, the stares of the other guests burning into his back. He found an empty armchair. In a quieter corner of the opulent lobby, sinking into it heavily, his cane resting against his knee, he needed a moment. The journey had been long, his back ached, and this welcome was a bitter pill. He looked around the magnificent lobby at the wealthy patrons, the liveried staff, and felt utterly out of place, an anachronism. He pulled out his old simple cell phone. His granddaughter Emily would be devastated if she knew. He didn't want to worry her, but there was someone else he could call, a name from his active duty days. A man who had once been a young, ambitious aide to Jack's commanding general and who had since risen to incredible heights in the corporate world. Richard Sterling, CEO of Sterling Hotels International, the parent company of the Grandmark. They hadn't spoken in years, but Jack remembered the young man's sharp intellect and deep respect for the military. It was an almost impossibly long shot. A desperate measure, he found the old number in his contacts, listed under Sterling Jen's aide. He dialed, expecting a disconnected line or an anonymous corporate voicemail. To his surprise, after several rings, a calm, professional voice answered, not an assistant, but the man himself. "Sterling, Richard Sterling. This is John Ramsey, Colonel Jack Ramsey. We served together under General Patton a lifetime ago." Well, not that Patton, his grandson, actually. Jack began, a bit flustered. There was a pause, then a, warm, booming laugh. "Colonel Jack Ramsey, the legend himself. Of course I remember you, sir. It's an honor to hear your voice after all these years. What can I do for you, Colonel?" "Anything?" Jack, relieved by the warmth, quickly explained his situation: the confirmed reservation at the Grand Mark for the Medal of Honor convention, the denial of his room by the front desk clerk, the "system says no" attitude. He kept it factual, understated. Richard Sterling listened in stunned silence. When Jack finished, there was a moment of dead air. Then Sterling's voice came back, stripped of its earlier warmth, now vibrating with a cold, controlled fury that Jack remembered well from Sterling's military days when incompetence was encountered. "Jack, Colonel, are you telling me that one of my hotels, the Grand Mark, the flagship venue for your Medal of Honor Society convention, has denied you a room you had confirmed because of a system error and a clerk's abysmal judgment?" "That's about the sum of it, Richard," Jack confirmed wearily. "They told me they're fully booked and there's nothing they can do." "Nothing they can do?" Sterling's voice was incredulous. "Colonel, you stay right where you are in that lobby. Do not move. I am currently in a board meeting 3 blocks from the Grand Mark. This board meeting is officially adjourned. I will be at your side in less than 6 minutes, and there will be hell to pay." The line clicked, dead. Jack sat there, a mixture of apprehension and a strange sort of relief washing over him. He hadn't intended to cause such a stir, but Sterling's reaction suggested that the system at the Grand Mark was about to encounter a far more powerful and less forgiving system. He watched the lobby life continue, unaware of the corporate hurricane about to make landfall. Julian, the clerk, was preening slightly, having successfully handled the problematic old man. Ms. Carmichael, the manager, remained in her office. 5 minutes passed. Then, precisely as Sterling had promised, 6 minutes after the call ended, the main revolving doors of the Grand Mark burst open with unusual force. Richard Sterling, CEO of Sterling Hotels International, strode into the lobby like a man on a mission, his face a thundercloud, 2 equally grim-faced executive VPs trailing in his wake. He bypassed the concierge, ignored the gasps from staff, his eyes scanning the lobby with laser focus, until they locked onto Jack Ramsey, sitting quietly in the armchair. He marched directly toward him. Julian, the clerk, saw the commotion, saw the impeccably dressed, powerful-looking man heading toward the old fellow he'd dismissed. He felt a sudden, inexplicable lurch of anxiety. Miss Carmichael, alerted by a panicked call from the concierge, hurried out of her office, her professional smile freezing on her face as she recognized Richard Sterling, the CEO of the entire global chain, bearing down on her lobby. Sterling reached Jack, his expression instantly softening as he grasped the older man's hand warmly. "Colonel Ramsey, Jack, it is an outrage that you were subjected to this. Please accept my deepest personal apologies." He then turned, his eyes blazing, toward the front desk. "Julian!" he roared, his voice, usually reserved for boardroom takedowns, echoing through the vast lobby, causing heads to snap around and conversations to die. "Get over here! Now! And you, Ms. Carmichael, I want you here as well." Julian and Ms. Carmichael scurried to his side, their faces pale. "Mr. Sterling, what an unexpected surprise," Ms. Carmichael stammered. "Surprise?" Sterling thundered. "The surprise, madam, is that a Medal of Honor recipient, an invited guest of honor to a convention hosted by this hotel, can be turned away. From his confirmed reservation by your incompetent staff and a flawed system, you clearly don't understand how to manage." He gestured toward Jack, who was now standing, looking slightly embarrassed by the public display, but also resolute. "This man is a national hero. He has faced down enemy battalions with more courage than your entire staff possesses collectively. And your clerk, your system, tells him there's no room at the inn because of a policy?" Julian looked like he was about to pass out. "Sir, the system? It showed full—" "To hell with the system," Sterling cut him off. "Your job is to serve. Guests, especially honored guests like Colonel Ramsey. If the system is the problem, you override it. If a room isn't available, you find one. You upgrade someone. You downgrade someone else. You give him your own damn office if you have to. You do not tell a Medal of Honor recipient to try others. Hotels! He took a deep, steadying breath. Effective immediately, Colonel Ramsey will be accommodated in the presidential suite for the duration of his stay. Entirely complimentary. His every need will be personally attended to by you, Ms. Carmichael. You will also ensure that every single member of the Medal of Honor Society attending this convention receives an immediate upgrade and a personal apology for any inconvenience caused by our system. He then turned his icy gaze back to Julian. As for you, young man, your employment with Sterling Hotels International is terminated. Effective immediately, security will escort you out. Your profound lack of judgment, disrespect, and basic human decency have no place in this organization. The fallout was swift and absolute. Julian was indeed escorted out, his career at Sterling Hotels over. Ms. Carmichael, deeply chastened, personally oversaw Colonel Ramsey's check-in to the opulent presidential suite, apologizing profusely. Muffs. Emergency memo went out to all Grand Mark staff and then to the entire Sterling Hotels chain, reiterating policy on accommodating VIPs, especially decorated veterans, and emphasizing the need for human judgment to override system errors. Richard Sterling spent another hour with Jack in the suite, sharing coffee, reminiscing, and ensuring his old mentor was comfortable and settled. He made it clear that any attempt by a hotel in his chain to disrespect a veteran, especially one of Jack's stature, would be met with the fiercest possible response. The Medal of Honor Society convention proceeded without further incident, with Colonel Ramsey treated with the reverence and respect he deserved. The story of the CEO's dramatic intervention, however, became a quiet legend among the attendees and hotel staff, a potent reminder that true leadership means taking swift, decisive action to uphold honor and rectify injustice, no matter how inconvenient it might be for the system. Jack Ramsey, as always, remained humble, asking for no special treatment beyond what was right. But for a few crucial minutes, his quiet dignity and a long-forgotten phone number had brought the full weight of corporate power down to ensure that respect wasn't just a word in a mission statement, but a reality experienced by those who had earned it most, because some reservations are more than just bookings. They are promises, and some men, like Colonel Jack Ramsey, carry a history that no computer system can ever truly quantify or dare to dismiss. Subscribe to Hidden. Sparks if you believe our heroes deserve the presidential suite every time, and that true leaders always answer the call.